Welcome to All Things Retreat Podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show today. We're going to be having a retreat discussion as usual, so hang tight for some good, juicy stuff. We have Tess Cheng with us. She's a certified health and wellness coach with 13 plus years of experience helping people build sustainable lifestyle and mindset change. With a master's degree in clinical nutrition from NYU and a personal experience overcoming health challenges, she takes practical, holistic approach to real life well-being. She supports high-performing professionals and retreat participants in turning retreat insights into sustainable daily habits to foster clarity, resilience, and self-leadership. For Tess, true transformation isn't about restriction. It's about creating health in a way that sustains joy, passion, and fun long after the retreat ends. She's also contributing author of Confident You, The Raw Conversations, where her chapter Empower Your Path explores sustainable habits for energy focus and lasting confidence. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Holly. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. Well, all right, let's have a little retreat conversation. Most of our listeners are retreat leaders, and we're also going to be attracting a lot of people to a brand new company I just am launching called International Retreat Association. I don't even know if you know about that. We just started talking about it, and soon our opening for membership will be coming out. We'll have some founding members, so it's going to be juicy and exciting. So I'm sure more people will be listening into these shows than we had before. Just it's going to open up a whole new avenue. And I just want to say to you, Tess, can you believe in an industry with 2 to 3 million estimated retreat leaders, there's not been an association for them to belong to?
So this is going to be incredible.
Oh yeah, no industry standards, no values. It's like we're creating all of it from scratch. So super excited for that. So just putting my little plug in there and letting people know that that's kind of, what's to come. So from your perspective, knowing that most of our listeners are retreat leaders, why are retreats such a powerful catalyst for change, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, from my experience with myself and with my clients, it's powerful because you get together, you go there with that mindset, you want to learn and you're open to new ideas. And at the same time, the environment is really supportive. You have like-minded people with you and, get to learn a lot of things. Very often there's some workshops and you get to do the things that, you are, you're all, are willing to do, and you get to be given new ideas, new habits, and literally it just puts you in the right mindset for for making changes. So retreats are really powerful, and I mean it's a great way for people to actually start, if they've never done anything like that before, or they're looking for building new habits.
Yeah. And we have lots of shows with different guests that help teach, the hows and the whys, all levels of business of doing retreats. So yeah, definitely a great way for change. Can you think of a story for you of maybe someone who's successfully integrated a retreat breakthrough into maybe a long-term change that you can think of?
Easily, yes. Quite a few of my clients been to retreats, and I always encourage them to, to go on them if they can find something that fits it, fits with their perspectives. This particular client, he actually came back a few months ago from a retreat in Arizona, and he's a businessman. He went on the retreat before we actually started working together. Some of the other ones that I work with.
Yeah.
And he went on this retreat because he felt he had really low energy and he couldn't really focus at work. And he wanted to actually make some lifestyle changes, but he just couldn't get himself to do it. And he didn't know how to start. So he thought, well, maybe I would take a break from my busy schedule and go on this retreat and just learn something and be with people, who really wanted to change too, to, as I said earlier, like-minded, supportive group. So he went on it, and then he felt really good and he learned a lot of things. And he came back, and that's when he actually got my contact details from some people that, he knew. And we started working together. And he felt that, he learned a lot, but at the same time, he wanted to actually continue with the new changes. And he felt, by being on his own, it would be more difficult to implement those changes and actually to keep them consistent. So we focus on one or two things, and then we worked on them, like sleeping better, having a better sleep schedule, and having more boundaries around his work, projects, to actually say no when he felt that he couldn't actually just fit everything in. And yeah, and he just, he continued to actually benefit from what he gained from the retreat just by implementing, these little changes. But at the same time, he realized he couldn't just do them all in one go, because when you come off the retreat, it's a very different environment.
Yeah. If it's transformational, especially sometimes, I mean, they are life changers for people, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Very much
Yeah. Well,
so.
that's good that he's able to do that. And then you're able to kind of help him implement that working with you then.
Yeah, because he was getting a lot of support when he was at the retreat. So when he came out of it, he just felt like he was left on his own, to deal with
Right.
all the new things he had learned. So he really felt it was beneficial to have someone to bounce ideas off and
Yeah.
actually get that support and accountability on a regular basis.
I want to say ding, ding, ding for retreat leaders that are listening, because this is a big clue that, you don't, if you're doing transformational work, hopefully you're experienced enough to be able to handle the breakthroughs that they're having at the event. But there's your follow-up clue right there is, you don't want them coming home and they just go right back to all the same old stuff. That wasn't the point of what you were trying to do. We're talking mostly for transformational retreats, by the way. So yeah, I just feel like that was a clue to the listeners to say, have the skills to be able to handle what's next and how you can work with them. And it's an upsell. I mean, a complete upsell to your retreat business. So hopefully that they caught that. We got smart people listening. I'm sure they did. But when you work with high achieving professionals, why is sustainable change often harder for them specifically, being high achievers?
Well, high achievers usually are very focused and they're disciplined. So that's not, it's not difficult then. So they are motivated, they're very motivated. But when it comes to wellness changes or behavioral changes, it's hard to keep them sustainable because they put so much focus into their work. And so that when it comes to making changes, they feel they can do the same, just going all in. But it doesn't work, with changes, with lifestyle changes. It doesn't work that way. You can't just do everything all in one go and your brain will just get overwhelmed. So it's really more important to actually just focus on one small step and work with it and see how it fits in with your schedule, because it has to fit in with your busy life and it has to be realistic for it to be sustainable. So if you will travel a lot and then you're out of your home environment, you can't just say, oh, yeah, I'm going to follow this diet plan.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to work. One day you're at a conference, the next day you're maybe flying across the country from East Coast to West Coast. So you really have to be prepared to actually be flexible.
Yes. Well, and I find that if I don't do my home routines while I'm traveling, you kind of get out of those routines too. So it's something that you do have to stay consistent with for sure. And when you said you can't do everything all at once, I feel like definitely for myself, I mean, I was very, very sick in the hospital for 70 days with COVID. So I ended up with long COVID after. And it's interesting. I mean, God's my higher power, whatever that is for anyone else, I respect. And for me, it was like, I feel like God knew that he had to drip things on me and ideas and things that I was getting as a high achiever, as a entrepreneur and a person that has the big ideas a lot. it was like those had to come to me a little bit slower. It's like I couldn't have handled it all at once. And I think sometimes we want everything right now when we're a high achiever, and we want to make everything just happen, and it just magically is going to be perfect. It doesn't always work out that way. So I think it's just giving yourself some grace, but keeping those consistent things in your routines are so important. So yeah, that definitely. Let's talk about the biggest mistake that you feel people make in the first week after the retreat. So we kind of talked about when you come back, if there's not a way to integrate it, but what would you say is for the actual attendee, what are some of the biggest mistakes you feel happen?
From what I experience is that very often they just want to do all the things they've learned at the retreat right away in the first week.
Fire hose.
And as we said, very often it's not realistic and it's not possible to do all those things because now you come home, you have a very busy schedule, you have your family, and you have all the other things you have to deal with. Whereas at the retreat, all those things were put on hold. And at the same time, you have a supportive group and everything's designed to make those change is easy, the things you're learning. For example, even when it comes to all the meals, healthy eating choices, they are there. You're not going to be distracted with things at the retreat. Whereas when the first week, when you come out of it, suddenly, wow, it's a different environment
Yeah.
altogether. Suddenly you have to attend, kids, sports games, and then you have meetings, you have clients, you have phone calls, Zoom. And at the same time, you might find that you might not have time, to do, to eat on a, regular basis. And how do you find time to work out? So all those things can be really challenging.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you don't have that supportive group that you can bounce
Right.
ideas with. And so you are really much on your own managing all these different things. And so it can be so overwhelming for your brain. And then you might suddenly just say, oh, I can't do any of this. It's all very well. I learned it from the retreat. When I come back, this is just not realistic. I can't deal with all of this and try to fit all my new changes in. So what I always say that, take a break and just give yourself, some grace and say, perhaps I learned 10 things from the retreat that I can implement into my life. But don't do all of them at the same time. Just do one or two that is easy to do, that's realistic, and that will fit in with your life, and work with those first.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. I also want to add in that I think too, before you go on the retreat, preparing for when you come back for yourself. I mean, you have no idea what kind of transformation you're going to have or what it's going to be like. So I think understanding when you come home, you're going to have a lot of things screaming at you. The to-do list is long because you've been gone and now you've got to play catch up. And I think that we get back in that mundane of the normal routine. And it's like, if you're going to a transformational retreat, you want to come back and implement some of those things. So make sure you have the space open in your schedule, even though you're playing catch up, to be able to handle that stuff. Or it just, I mean, I don't think it gets wasted, but it's not going to be implemented like you like. So I think it's just that planning ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And especially when you said, rather, you're doing all the catch up. So you don't want to say, oh, it's the first week, I need to do everything, with work, I need to do the catch up first. And I put all the new things I've learned on hold until next week, because then next week can become another week.
Real easy. Guilty.
Before you know it, 10 weeks have gone by. And then now you've forgotten, and your system's forgotten all those things you've learned.
Yeah.
The other suggestion I would give to people who are going on retreats is that when you're there, you get to meet like-minded people. So perhaps, talk to at least one or two of them and say, look, let's keep each other accountable when we come out
Yeah.
of the retreat, and maybe have a call from time to time, or just a text message, just to check on each other and see how each other is doing.
Right. I love accountability through text daily
Yeah,
for a while because I feel like it's
yeah,
just You're just saying good morning. Maybe you set up a code 1 to 10. How are you scoring on your goals that we created or whatever it is, So it's just a little bit of communication. It's not overwhelming. Definitely get the right partner to do that with it. Is it to like have the mile long text that you have to read every day? Like that's exhausting. But yeah, I think there's a happy medium in there somewhere for sure. But I love the accountability partner. I think,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
that's a great suggestion. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, because that way you feel you're not by yourself. You're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody wants, well, I always say no one does it alone, but I don't think people want to feel alone either. Sometimes they want to be alone. They don't always want to feel alone.
Yeah.
We all need to be alone sometimes. That's okay. Some more than others. So in your work, Tess, how do you help clients work on both sides of the equation? Building supportive habits while dismantling the ones that hold them back.
Yeah, that's a topic that I really love, talking about. Because very often when people build healthy lifestyle changes, they focus on the healthy ones, the positive ones. But at the same time, they also have to look at the other side of the coin. What are some of the habits that are actually holding you back? And so you have to look on both sides, because it's very well focusing on, having and going to the gym and setting boundaries and making healthy choices. But at the same time, you also have to look at some of the habits that are undermining all the benefits you're getting from the other ones. If you're sleep deprived, then you're more likely, to be exhausted all day and not feel so motivated,
Right.
to do something that's healthy for you. And to keep your energy up. So it's important to see, to look at both sides. And so this way, the motivation stays new. And so how we work at it is that we would say, we will work on something that you can fit in something positive and you can implement that change. And then at the same time, we will look at something that might not actually be that good for your long-term health, and see how we can make it, a change from that, or actually limit, that activity.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens emotionally when someone realizes that they can maintain change without putting their life on pause?
Wow. Yeah, it's a relief for them. Suddenly they see that I can make change. I can have a full life, enjoy myself with my family, do all the things I enjoy, can go traveling, can go out to the lovely restaurants that, I love going to. But at the same time, they are not actually sacrificing their health. So they can stay healthy, but enjoy life at the same time. And so and then they stay more motivated, to keep the changes and building on them, because that's what we want. We want to stay healthy, but at the same time, we also want joy in our lives. I enjoy food and I like going out to eat. And when we travel, we're going to want to try different cuisines. So
Definitely.
it's not realistic. That's why it's not realistic to have a dietary plan. That's why I don't like that. When I work with my clients, I always say, look, let's work on making wise, healthy choices when you're dining out, rather than following this strict plan.
Which is easier to do nowadays, is easier. I
Yeah.
think restaurants are realizing, not all their food is healthy. There's more options. There's a lot more people that are eating gluten free and
Yeah.
vegetarian. And I think those options don't you think they're more available now at restaurants?
Yes, they
Yeah.
are. But at the same time, you can also make requests, but also to be more educated about the choices you can make when a menu is presented to you. Because you are the one who has to make the choices. And so
Yeah.
there are always healthier choices than the unhealthy one. There are always healthy choices. So you don't have to make the unhealthy ones. And it's just getting around that. And that's why it's important to have that information.
Yeah. Well, when you make those healthy choices, it's amazing, like how much better you just feel. Like at the time in the moment, you want to just splurge and do something. And once in a while, I think that's fine. But I think overall, to really, eat healthy is so important, and it affects everything. I mean, it's really the bottom line to me is just all about the balance and figuring
Yes.
that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tess, this has been a great conversation. And so I'm going to put your information to contact you in the show notes so people can get a hold of you. We're going to do a little rapid fire here at the end. I have a few questions that I will ask you. Just First top of mind answer. There's no right or wrong. So, okay, you ready?
Yeah, I love
Morning.
them. So fire
Okay.
away.
Morning routine or evening routine?
Morning routine.
Okay. One habit that changes everything.
I prioritize sleep.
Yes. Coffee or matcha?
Coffee.
A book that influenced your work?
Atomic Habits
Good
by
one.
James Clear.
Love that. The most underrated wellness habit?
Get plenty of sleep.
One thing that people should stop doing for their health?
Sugar consumption.
Sugar. That's word. One thing they should start doing today?
Movement. Any movement helps.
Love that. Best way to reset after a stressful day?
Listen to your favorite music and go for a walk.
Love it. A word that you want people to associate with well-being?
Well-being, I would say persistence.
Okay, fill in the blank. True transformation happens when?
When you are willing to make changes.
Yeah. Love that. Great job. Those were actually, those were great answers. So there you go. You just got a bunch more nuggets of fast stuff that those retreat leaders can apply to their stuff. I love it. Well, thanks so much. You've been a great guest for coming on the show and sharing your words of wisdom. And anyone that wants to dig a little deeper with Tess, and especially nutritionally, she's a pro at that. Just give her a little holler on her information that we post here. So, okay, until then, thank you again. We will see everybody next week, hopefully, on the next show. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time. Thinking about hosting a retreat? Before you dive in, let's make sure you're really ready. Grab your free Are You Retreat Ready checklist and find out if you've got everything in place, from your purpose and pricing to your audience and agenda. Don't guess. Get clear. This quick checklist will show you exactly where you stand and what you need to make your retreat a success. Click the link below in the show notes to grab your gift and take the first step toward hosting with confidence.